Good morning and welcome to Chamber Chat. I am Marina Papanikolaou, CEO of the Greater Toms River Chamber of Commerce. And we're here this morning at the Toms River Brewing with Matt Hynes and our GTRCC Chairman, Phil Brilliant. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. We're going to go from here. We're going to talk beer. This is great. So Matt, thanks for having us this morning. Sure. And we're going to drink lightly since it's morning time.
All right, take it easy.
But Toms River Brewing, you guys are a great partner to the chamber. We appreciate you opening up for us for GTRCC on Tap on the fourth Monday of every month, because we know that's the day of rest in the brewing industry after a long weekend. But tell us about Toms River Brewing. Tell us where you guys came from and how this came to be, and also what do we have on tap here?
Yeah, so Toms River Brewing, we're located at 1540 Route 37 West. We've been here for about coming up on 4 years in May. Wow. Prior to us being here, it was Rinduin. Then the space, we kind of redid everything, redid the tap room. We've really expanded our production. We've added new tanks, a brand new brew house. So we've been staying very busy, expanding our footprint, not only in Ocean County, but Monmouth, all the way as far north as Bergen and Passaic, and also down to Cape May County as well.
Oh, great.
So we brew a wide variety of beers here. Our number one, our flagship, is St. John's Irish Red. And we are coming into the Irish Red season this week.
That's right, this week,
so,
week, yep.
We have everything from barrel-aged beers like we have here, Dream Within a Dream, to different varieties of IPAs, Belgian beers, the beer that we do for the New Jersey Devils now, Stick Toss, is a German Kolsch ale. So we like to keep ourselves busy, but also with a keen eye on quality.
So, I mean, basic, easy question. I remember doing that barrel of Mr. Beer and making this beer and sanitize this and put a little of this in there and that in there, and it tasted like Miller Lite or Coors Light or whatever it ends up being. But every beer now, you have a different color, aroma, everything about it. How do you decide what you're going to make?
It kind of depends on, I wouldn't say just our mood. Sometimes it does come from, what do the brewers want to make? What's the feedback we're getting from our guests? But each style, like with this one, it's at its base.
This is
number 9. It's
Dream Within a Dream.
So this one is, like I said, it's a barrel-aged beer. But this one went through 2 different barrels. It's actually 3 different styles of beer that we blended together. Oh. We used an Imperial Porter that we have vanilla and honey in. And then we also barrel-aged an Imperial Stout in wild turkey barrels for about 1.5 years. And then we also had a Belgian Flanders Red, which is more of a dark red, kind of tart ale. And we aged that for about 6 months in Cabernet Sauvignon barrels. And then we opened it up in the summer and packed it full of cherries, and then sealed it up for another 2 years. And then blended all of them together.
I have this small glass this morning because we're not going to drink a lot in the morning.
We're going to behave ourselves.
Right. How long did it take to make this?
All in, you're looking at almost 3 years. Now, not all beers are like that, of course. But if we want to do, one of those other styles, on average, we can turn a beer around in about 14 days. Sometimes a little bit faster, sometimes longer if we're doing lagers, things like Pilsners, or if we just want to condition our beers like Stick Toss. Even though it's not a lager per se, we treat it very much like one. We give it some extra time in the tank to really condition, let all those flavors come together.
So the thing I always hear, whenever we go out to eat or drink or whatever it might be, my girlfriend likes IPAs. And they have to be as hazy as possible.
Hazy, yeah.
Okay. What is she drinking? What makes it hazy? I mean, again, I love drinking beer, and I'm going to drink this. I'm going to drink anything you give me, pretty much.
Right.
But what makes it hazy? I mean,
right off the bat will be unfiltered. So there's no filtration going on in there. A lot of times, especially with the hazy, New England IPA style, that's become very popular, over the last 10 years or so. There's a high usually protein content, and that comes from different kinds of wheat and oats usually, and that kind of leaves this residual colloidal haze that's still present in the beer. It changes the mouthfeel somewhat, but that's also something that we can control on the brew side.
Oh, okay.
Compared to a West Coast IPA, where it's usually crystal clear, whether it's a lighter color or a darker color, you can see right through it. The way that they're hopped is differently as well. New England hazies tend to be, bigger tropical hops on the back end of the brew process, which leaves less bitterness, but much more aromatic and flavor there. Now with a West Coast IPA, it looks different in the glass, but also it smells different, and it has much more of a complex layered bitterness to it because there's hopping that goes on almost throughout the brew process.
So if a beer like this takes 3 years, other beers could take 14 days.
Sure.
I mean, how many beers do you have on tap? How many do you keep on tap? How do you I mean, I guess if you run out, you're out. You got to wait another 3 years until you're going to taste this again.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. You know.
At all times, we try to keep 16 different beers on tap at all times.
All those taps.
We try and, like I said earlier, we have a wide variety of different beer styles, from very light to dark to much more punchy. We have fruited beers. We have ones that are on the tartar side, and the reason for that is we want as people come in here, we want our guests to have options, but also something that's there for everyone to enjoy. There's nothing better than when you're a brewer and you're serving everybody, and you hear someone say, I'm not a beer drinker, but man, I can drink that. That's
right.
And now you've got them. Now you turn them on to something else, and not just that there's different beers out there, but it's your beer that they want now. So there's definitely a sense of pride there for all of us. Distribution
wise, I mean, now you're doing beers in cans. Yep. I always remember canning days.
Yeah,
there's like big days here, right?
You just finished one.
You just finished canning day, okay. Canning days, but you also, I mean, your kegs are going out to different bars. Yeah. Ocean, Monmouth County. How far do you go? Where can I find you on tap?
Most of the state is where we're at right now. Really south, down like Gloucester, Cumberland. That we haven't really tapped into too much, but like I said, we're up in Bergen County, Passaic, Monmouth, Somerset, Middlesex, Ocean, of course, Atlantic counties. So we kind of have ourselves, we're spreading ourselves out, not too thin, but really trying to get the word out about Toms River and Toms River Brewing. And we're also in New York State right now.
So you are in New York State, okay. Now, so I have a kegerator in my backyard.
Sure.
And I have 2 taps. I like to keep 2, what do they call it, sixtels?
Sixtels, right.
Okay, in there. If I wanted to do that, could I buy a sixtel from you guys? Do you guys sell those? Oh, you do?
Yeah, we rent them out.
You do?
Yeah, so we take a deposit.
Didn't know that. We're going to work on that this coming summer.
Yeah.
It's around the corner.
It is.
Starting to work on it.
It's not far. It's not far at all.
Starting to work. So you do like rent them or?
Yep, we do.
Now, limited as the type of beer you do, or do you do all of them?
For the most part, we do all of them. Something like this, again,
right.
Is limited. That's just for the tap room only. If it's a very limited run of something, then we try and keep it kind of close to home. But something like St. John's.
Can I get stick toss?
You can get stick toss. Yeah.
Devil's beer. Kind of my devil's beer.
Devil's beer.
Devil's beer while watching the Met games. Unless you're going to be at Citi Field soon with the Mets. Do you have a Mets flavor coming out?
As of yet, not.
No, okay.
But
we'll work on that.
You never know. We're always trying to work on something.
Yeah. So you did mention, I mean, we were talking about a minute ago, St. Patrick's Day is this week.
Yes, it is.
I have to assume that's a pretty big week in the brewing industry.
It is. Keeps us busy, that's for sure.
You tap out by Saturday?
You would think, but usually the party keeps going.
Party keeps going. What do you have going on Friday?
So Friday we're going to have a pipe band here. We're going to have St. Brendan, the Navigator of Point Pleasant. His band's going to be here. We're going to have live music. Local band Innisfree plays a lot of Irish music. There's going to be a food truck here. We're going to be here. It's just going to be a good time. We're going to pack the house and we're going to celebrate.
And what are the hours on Friday?
Is 12 to 9.
12 to 9.
Yep.
Okay. What are your normal hours?
They're still 12 to 9 usually on Friday.
What days of the week are you open?
We're open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thursday, we open from 3 to 9. Friday and Saturday is 12 to 9. And then Sunday is 12 to 6.
Does that change at all in the summer, or is it always consistent?
We usually open it back up on Wednesdays.
Okay.
Just to kind of give that extra day. Sometimes in those slower months, it's just that it's slow.
Yeah. And so we're right next to Bacchus School of Wine.
We are.
But we're not next to Bacchus Food Truck. So do you usually have food trucks during the summertime when people come out? I mean, I know, there's no food here right now, but, to be able to drink and have a snack.
So we don't always have food trucks here. Right. There is kind of a debate going on legislatively in the state. So hopefully that gets changed. So we can have more food trucks, more readily available. Right. But we always encourage everyone that they're more than welcome to bring any kind of food that they want. You want to bring pizzas, you want to bring subs, you want to bring a full meal, full dinner.
We could safely walk down the shoulder to Wawa and come back.
Sure.
Just be careful on the travel back and forth. So I mean, and you can answer this question or not. This is the newest, right?
Right.
Okay. What are you working on? What would be like the next greatest?
The next greatest. We have a few things in the works. We have a few different lagers that are coming out. We're bringing back and actually one of our West Coast IPAs that we haven't done in a while.
Okay.
There are some other barrel aged beers that are back there that still are resting, as we like to say. For our 4th anniversary, we do have a barrel aged beer that's coming out.
And when is that?
That's going to be the end of May.
In May.
Yeah.
It's right around the corner.
It is. It's right there. So,
okay. Very good.
So we're excited for that. I don't want to give too many details out, but it is going to be a barrel aged beer, but it won't be a dark barrel.
We may have to do part 2 to come back again.
Do some sampling.
I have no problem coming in sampling all the time. This will be great. And my last question, because it's, again, everything has a different flavor. You also have the different percent of alcohol. I guess that's what it is. Alcohol by volume. Am I close?
Correct. Yep.
Look at that. I learned something new today. So we're drinking is 8.5%.
Yes.
So I'll be napping soon. Where does that come from? Where does the percent alcohol come from? Is it from a specific hop? Is it from the length of time, the process?
So the alcohol actually comes from the extraction in the grain. So on the hot side of the house, or when we're actually brewing, we're really creating sugar water.
Right.
And that's essentially before we put hops and everything. So alcohol doesn't really come into play until we pitch our yeast. So whatever we're doing with our grain, the volume of grain, how much extraction, like I said, we're trying to get out of there of the sugars is essentially what we're pulling out. And then once we send it to the fermenter and the yeast is added, that's when it actually becomes beer. That's when alcohol actually starts.
Wow.
So there's no alcohol on the hot side of it. It's actually what we call the cold side. Once it goes to the cellar, it goes from a high temperature in the brew house, and then we drop it down to about, depending on the beer, somewhere between 60 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's when it's a safe temperature to pitch our yeast. And once the yeast goes in and starts eating that sugar or the sugar molecules, it starts creating alcohol and ethanol and kind of burping CO2.
I was looking to see if 8.5 is like the highest. I think
actually right now number 14
9.
is 9.1. That's our highest right now.
That'll be for Denise. Denise will be drinking that one. And last question, I apologize for all the questions, but I'm interested in this, so everyone's gonna have to bear with me. Pumpkin beer, Oktoberfest. When will you start making that? Or is that already like in process?
Pumpkin, we haven't done one yet.
Okay.
It's kind of been back and forth if we're going to do one. We've done some other fall beers before. Mm-hmm. We are kicking around the idea of doing like a big imperial pumpkin porter or something like that. But for Oktoberfest, traditionally you would make what's called a Marzen, which relates to the month of March. So we actually are going to, in the next week or so, brew ours, and then once it's done fermenting, we're going to hold it at about 34 degrees and lager it until it's time to come out in September. Okay. So it'll be sitting in the tank, conditioning, getting as good as it can get. So we already usually lager it. This is the first time we're actually going to do one and tie up a tank for almost 6 months. So
we'll make sure to save some.
Of course.
Because it never fails. Like Oktoberfest hits in like the end of August, beginning of September, and the middle of September, there's nothing left.
It's all gone.
Yeah, it's all gone.
It's kind of a bummer because that's, for me, I think some of the best beers come out.
Yep. Best flavors.
September, October. That's where it's at.
Best for tailgating, especially as it starts to get a little colder.
Yeah, a little crispness in the air. Yeah.
Best way to do it. So Matt, we're at Route 37 next to Bacchus School of Wine. Mm-hmm. That Sean got 2 shout outs now. Hours are Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 to 9, noon to 9 on Fridays and Saturdays.
Correct.
And this Friday, St. Patrick's Day, come on down. Yeah. Matt will be on taps, basically making sure everybody's getting drinks.
Keeping everyone hydrated.
Everyone hydrated. That's it for St. Patrick's Day. Thank you very much for being a great partner to the Chamber. Thanks and for all you do. Let's toast.
Yeah. Cheers.
Toast the Chamber. Thank you very much. And the Toms River Brewing. We'll see you next month.